Hello, everyone. I want to thank you all for being here today to celebrate our Mouths of Connections and our annual celebrations to give you guys a community update of what's happening with the Miles Hall Foundation. Um, for those, we have new people here today that aren't familiar with our organization. Unfortunately, it was created out of tragedy when my son, Miles Hall, was shot and killed in 2019 in Walnut Creek while experiencing a mental health emergency. So the work we do is real. The work we do is important because we want to make sure people who are affected by mental health have the right response. And that's making sure that police are not the first responders and that we have the right resources. So thank you all for being here today. This is our, like I said, our annual celebration and community update. So I would like to thank those of who participated in our Miles for Miles Turkey Trot. I see a lot of faces, a lot of people who actually did participate, and I want to thank you. Our family wants to thank you. Our foundation wants to thank you. We can't do this work alone. It takes a village, and clearly you guys are part of the village. But the reason why we do this event is to bring awareness to mental health crisis. There are resources that you see here. A3 Miles Hall Crisis Call Center. There's a number 988, which is also a national number, but also has specific uh, response for California. And I'll have someone, one of our board member, will be speaking more about that later. But you can look at all these great pictures, community coming together not just to talk about Miles, but to talk about mental health and having better alternatives than police, because coming with police is deadly, as we know, as our family is known too well, as other people on this call who know too well. So thank you guys for being here. And we can't do this work without you. So that's why we're here. We're here to talk about um, just you guys and celebrating the work we've done and we've come so far. It's been 6 years since Miles was killed. And the work we do is to, like I said, to bring awareness and really make sure that we have better alternatives for people with serious mental illness, especially those people of color. So, as I'm sure you guys have seen on our social media, we have an online auction. This is another way for us to raise money so we can bring the programs that we have. We can do the advocacy because it takes funds, it takes community. And so this is going on till Sunday. So please, I hope to see, so far we've had lots of bids. I already heard Dr. Langston telling me that he's already been outbid and how does he increase his bid? So I love it. But it takes community, and thank you guys for being part of that. So today, like I said, we're going to talk about going the extra miles together, the work we've done. So I'd love to give you guys some highlights of what we've done and and how far we have come in these 6 years, which who thought we would even be able to survive and live through this nightmare, because it truly is a nightmare. But paying to purpose, right? And our volunteers are our strength. Those are the people on this call that is people who have stood up with us, gone to rallies, holding the Board of Supervisors accountable, going to legislation, talking to Rebecca Bauer-Cahan to make sure we have better alternatives that don't involve police. AB 988 is now here because of voices like you guys who showed up, who came to city council meetings. We can't do this alone. So thank you guys for being here with us in our grief, and also understanding that this fight is not something that we're doing alone. There are many families that now we're part of a club that no one wants to belong to. So thank you. We have lots of really amazing things that we've done um, throughout the our community. We have um, been involved with the Board of Supervisors, going to the Board of Supervisors. The Contra Costa County has acknowledged Miles' birthday in Black History Month in a proclamation, and that has to do with building community. That's like working with Gigi Crowder from NAMI to make those things happen. It's community building. So I just want to say thank you guys I want to say thank you for being part of that. We've also been involved in um, Live on the Bay because we had a Miles and May brunch. I see we have some of our big donors like Lynette Hart on the call who was bidding away. So many of you guys, but we can't do this alone. And again, it's awareness. That's why we do this. We're an advocacy agency that wants to make sure that we take away systemic issues which involve police and mental health calls. Also, I mentioned the Turkey Trot and how much money we raised. We raised over $3,500 from individual donors. And also we had Kaiser and Alpha Business Advisors who are our core sponsors. But what we're doing with this money is we're buying bikes for kids who are less fortunate. A lot of times people with mental illness, um, they need support. And one of these ways is we can get back to the community. So I just want to, highlight some of the things that we've done. We have a Say Their Names project that we are going to that we're launching next year. That's going to highlight, unfortunately, highlight the other unfortunate family members who have been killed by police in mental health emergencies. Because, like I said, Miles is not alone. This is not an isolated event. And unfortunately, that's why we're doing this work to make sure another family doesn't go through this. Miles really loved art and expression. And that is something we also worked with the city of Walnut Creek, partnered with downtown Walnut Creek on the painted pianos. It's another way that we can do mental health and bring in awareness in a different way because bridging the gap between mental health and expression is really important. It's important because it was important to Miles. All right, this is a picture here of the film screening that we did with Gail Friedman. And Miles's story was featured in this um, tragedy. And we partnered with NAMI Contra Costa to bring this to you guys. So as hard as it is um, to be in this space, it's important that people understand that this is happening to families every day. And this film talks a lot about the problems and the gaps in getting your loved one help, especially if they have serious mental illness. We've also done giveaways. That's also where your funds are going to. We gave 50 backpacks away to the unsheltered and partnered with another organization to do that. So it takes a village, and this is partly what we're doing with our funds as well. Um, but I'm really proud of our Black Building Barriers, Building Black Brotherhood event. This picture here is our third annual summit. It was held in February. We brought 70 kids together from Mount Diablo Unified School District, and new this year was bringing Akalani's High School District. We had Black male educators, mentors, and volunteers. This was a full day summit that provided space for young Black men to explore themes of brotherhood, identity, resilience through a keynote speech, 3 breakout sessions, educator workshops, and interactive discussion. So it's, it's a really important place to bring these Black boys together to talk about being vulnerable, emotional intelligence, and then also how that all affects your mental health. And giving them the resources and tools to understand that there is AB 988 now. There is a three in Contra Costa County that has a number if someone in their family or themselves is experiencing mental health issues. So again, our work is a lot about awareness and prevention. We want to make sure there's prevention. So we also had our therapy program that was piloted late last year. I didn't wasn't able to give you guys an update last year because it wasn't finished. And very excited to say that we did have this event. We had two cohorts that was for virtual group therapy, and it was about the effects of racial trauma, improving your mental well-being. And it was for by the BIPOC population and was facilitated by a Black psychologist. So again, providing resources and making sure that people know that um, there are resources for trauma-informed care. And then we also had our Hip Hop for Change and Bridge Builders event, and that was partnered with. This thing is not working. That was with the um, Hip Hop for Change and Bridge Builders, and we did this event with the partnership of Kaiser. And we were able to do two cohorts in Antioch, and again, bringing mental health and emotional intelligence together in an after-school program. So I'm excited to say that we were actually funded again for um, 2026. We had our Miles and May Love and Legacy brunch, and that was super exciting because it was our first annual, and we brought together, other impacted families. But we brought in again, it's the connection of mental health and having the discussions of having resources to support. All right, so now I'm gonna just dive in to some of the other work that we are doing. Um, our strategic plan was something that we worked on a lot last year and this year. We know what our strategic edge is, right? Our strategic edge is Miles's name. It's our legacy. It's our lived experience. Um, it's also our authentic connection to others and having empathy. As you know, as I mentioned about AB 988 and the Contra Costa A3, that's also where we show up and we are able to make the most connections with others. And one most important thing is our intersection of mental health, racism, and police response. So our mission, vision, and who we serve. Our mission is advocating for non-police response to mental health crisis, dismantling mental health stigma, and racial bias. Our vision is that we have a future where police are no longer the first responders to mental health emergencies, and where everyone is afforded the same care as anyone else. And who we serve. We serve communities with mental illness, but we are centering Black families who are disproportionately harmed and criminalized throughout generational trauma. Our main goal is to make sure we decriminalize mental health illness and advocate for mental health justice. And our strategies, we want to make sure we advocate systemic reform and public accountability, strengthen and expand non-police crisis response programs, inform and mobilize the public towards action, and support and empower impacted families and communities. So in addition to, and actually I'm gonna take this to the next one. So I have two families that I would like you guys to hear from today. And we have, I don't know, maybe Miss Friday, do you want to speak first? You want to share?
Oh, hello.
Hi, Miss Friday. Thank you for
Hi.
being on the call today.
Thank you. Yes, I don't mind sharing first. So, my name is Denise Friday, and my son Kobe Friday was executed in Stockton, California by Officer David Wells. It was a mistake in identity, and because of the way he loved the children and always want to make sure that children have what they need. We have our organization, Loyalty and Family, CTF Incorporated, and our main focus is to make sure all the children that are underprivileged, our families that are struggling, they don't have to worry about backpacks, supplies, or anything because we provide everything they need. We have a day at the park where we have bounce houses and all type of arts and crafts and games, and it's just a fun day for them to just get away. And we give out the backpacks. We served 300 people this last time, but we have served numerous of families and children since 2018 when we first started giving them away. And not only that, we also do our annual Christmas or holiday toy drive and the giveaway. And we have in the past had Santa with us and the elves and in uniform and go and knock on like the hotel doors where the unhoused stay and provide toys for the children and then in those areas and the children in different areas that normally wouldn't get a toy. Yes, so
Well,
that
thank you.
that's what we do. And I just wanted to mention also that the Miles Hall Foundation have been with us, and they also assisted us when we were in a bad space because no one donated the amount that we were looking for in order to carry on to do the events that we were trying to do it. But anyway, Mouse House helped us out in Mouse Foundation and Miss Hall, and it made we were able to pull it off. Amen. Yeah, so we appreciate it, and I just wanted to say we really thank you for believing in our work and the things that we do for the children and the youth. And we also have a family circle for them to talk in a circle about anything, and it stays in that circle. So I've learned a lot. When I thank you,
Thank you. Thank
I,
you, Miss Friday. And, just you were there, when Miles was killed. And I appreciate you just opening us with open arms as well, to this family that no one thought we would be part of. So thank you again. And we will definitely continue to support the work you do. So let's
oh,
say his
thank
name, Colby
you.
Friday.
Friday
Colby
and
Friday.
Miles Hall. Amen.
Thank you. Thank
Thank you.
you.
Thank you.
Okay. So yeah, you can see the impactful work that is being done in our loved ones' memories because we have to make sure we show up and we stand up to make sure that we uplift our loved ones still. They're still here with our essence spirit. So now I'm going to ask Lori Valdez to speak about your event, about your husband, and Lori, you're doing really impactful work in San Jose. So I would love for you to maybe highlight some of the work in the mental health work you guys are doing, and then obviously your Christmas event, Christmas for Josiah.
Okay. Hi, everybody. My name is Lori Valdez. And Antonio Guzman Lopez was killed February 21st, 2014 by San Jose State police officers um, within 51 seconds of getting a call. And they were CIT trained officers. 51 seconds was all they gave Antonio. Um, we had a 4-year-old son, and because of his suffering, him not being so little, not knowing the trauma, him screaming at night and stuff, and it just the holidays and everything. I started Justice for Josiah, not for Antonio, because Antonio was gone and there was no justice. He wasn't going to come back, but for his son that was left behind without a father to, help him grow into a man. I said Justice for Josiah was for all the kids who were left fatherless because of police violence, because these kids are not seen. They're not offered counseling service, nothing like that. Nobody in the community, because of who killed their parent, these kids are ignored. So I started a special Christmas from heaven, and it's on behalf of the parent who was killed. And I bring children throughout California. They come for 1 day. They come have dinner. We have Santa stuff, and we have performers. We have like a photo booth, and then we get sponsors to sponsor. And Miles Hall Foundation has sponsored our kids. We have anywhere from 60 to 100 kids come at a time. And it's really sad because some age out, because we do it 18 and under, but they age out, but then more come in, and it's like more children. And so this is a place where these kids suffer trauma, and they go to school and they don't want to talk about what happened. And when they shut down, teachers think they're bad kids. So this is a space where the kids can all be together and know that that kid knows exactly what I'm going through, because they too lost a family. And it's a connection that these kids really need, even if it's for the hardest holiday, right? So that's what we do. It's our 10th year this year. We're having it on December 20th in San Jose. And so I'm looking forward to, we have families who are coming. Also, we have done mental health first aid training for people in our community to know how to recognize mental health and be able to help somebody, a young person or an adult and stuff like that. And that was one thing that we did. We trained 10 community members. We had a training and they did it, and they all got certificates. So it was good. We had more people who want to join it. So we're going to do another one next year for people who want to do it in our community. And then we have our mobile crisis team without police. It's called Trust. And we fought hard. We got it. We got our vans to say non-police response so people know. And we have our direct line now. They were trying to put us under the 988 umbrella, and we said no, because people need to be able to get to the non-police crisis team directly, not go through a whole, go through 988 or 911, because they could get sidetracked and then a cop could show up first. So we got our direct line, we got our vans. We have 5 vans in Santa Clara County that are out there for people. And it's been really, really good. At first, people didn't know what it was because they didn't want to put non-police on the vans. And I said, how are people going to know what that trust is if it doesn't say what it is? So last Friday or 2 Fridays ago, I went with the guy to put on the decals on the van that said non-police response team. And so that's a plus. I'm excited about that, because now more people in our community will actually see the vans that it's a non-police crisis response team for mental health. And they offer, help, but they also have clothes. They have bins inside the vans with clothes, shoes for homeless, whoever they are. So they're getting it because we want people in our community to be met with care and concern, not guns and violence. Because every person in Santa Clara County who was under in a mental crisis were met with guns and violence, and their life was ended. And this is something we don't want it to happen again. So I want to thank Ton for inviting me to share some of the stuff we're doing here. It's exciting when we get in one of our counties to do something like that. It's a hard fight, but we have to. It's a way we're going to save lives, because, our loved ones should all be here if we didn't have the police coming out with guns and violence right away. Antonio should be here 51 seconds. Think about, for a CIT trained officer, 51 seconds is all they gave him, and they killed him. and my son has to grow up without him. But thanks to my village of people and the family who, all the families who have
Yeah.
supported me and loved my son since he was 4,
Mm.
he's grown into be a
Very
very
special.
caring kid and very respectful, and he's aware. He's more aware than most kids his age. So
Yeah,
thank
he's very
you, Tom.
special.
Thank you for always supporting us.
Yes, thank you. And thank you for sharing your story. And I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry we're here and I'm sorry we're like in this club. So thank you. And I did have thank you again, Lori. I appreciate you.
Oh, can I say one
Definitely.
thing, Miss Hall? I wanted to say that when my grandchildren were small, they went to Lori's Christmas.
Oh,
My
that's
granddaughters,
oh,
yeah.
that's so special, right? Because it really impacts, right? Families don't have like Lori said, they don't have the resources from the government to support. So thank you, Lori, for what you're doing, and thank you, Denise, for Miss Friday for giving her that shout out and how much it meant to your family. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And also I do have one more impacted family that would like to share. Another event they're doing too, and one that the Mouse Hall has supported as well. So I have Geraldine Bluford on the call.
Good evening, Mouse Hall Foundation, and my beautiful angel sister,
Hey.
Ton, and to all you lovely mothers and organizations, advocates that help support our plight, justice for our loved ones. My name is Geraldine Bluford. I'm the mother of Alan Bluford.
Sorry, Geraldine, I think you got muted somehow. Sorry about that. One sec. Geraldine, are you able to?
Okay,
I'm sorry
can you
about
hear
that.
me? I'm
I
sorry.
apologize. Yeah, sorry. We heard.
I'm in this stupid traffic and in the fog. But Alan was stolen from me in Oakland, California on May 6th of 2012, 2 weeks before his high school graduation. And he was racially profiled. Instead of Alan graduating high school, we had to plan a funeral and bury him. Alan was a 3.0 grade point average high school student who worked for the Oakland Unified School District, working with disabled students. He was a light into this world. In honor of Alan's birthday, his birthday is December the 20th. And every year before Christmas, as you all know, it's very hard during the holidays. But in honor of Alan's life, we celebrate by giving presents to children who has lost their loved ones, whether it's through community violence, through sickness or illness, through incarceration. We know what it's like to lose someone. And when you're going through loss, a lot of times it does cause mental health challenges. My family, my children have suffered mentally with the emotional cost of losing their baby brother. And it's been extremely difficult. And so, what we do is we reach out to those who have lost loved ones, who are having a hard time during the holiday season. We help to heal the hurting hearts of children by giving a toy drive. This year, it is on Alan's actual birthday, which is December 20th. And this is our 13th year. It's called Alan's Annual Birthday Toy Drive. Every year it gets bigger because there's more need. There's more hurting hearts. But we're working very hard to help heal those hearts. We appreciate the work that all the organizations are doing in the community, because if each one helps one, we all get help, and we're stronger together than we are apart. So if each one is doing their part to help a hurting heart, we are making a difference, no matter what the government or the city or who's in the White House. We are changing the lives of these young people who will again grow up and want to carry on the legacy of a loved one who was stolen from them. I appreciate everything that everyone has said and the fantastic work of the Miles Hall Foundation, who is helping to support the smaller organizations standing in unity throughout this whole West Coast, because we can't do it without people like Tan and her husband and all of the people that are advocating for justice to make change, because if we don't change, then we won't grow. And I won't hold you longer. Please, if you would like to support, you can go to our website, which is www.alanblufordfoundation.org. You can drop off a toy to the Alan Bluford Center for Justice, a place to help heal the community at 2434 Telegraph Avenue in the city of Oakland. We are preparing to launch our new program. It's called the Alan Program, All Love and Needs, to help stand in the gap for our youth, whether it's tutoring, mental health, resources, healing circles. We are just growing, and all praises to God and all love to you all. Thank you, Tan.
Thank you. Thank you so much for the work you're doing in the community to honor your beautiful son. So sorry we're here, but we're taking our pain to purpose and moving mountains. So thank you for that.
That's right. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So now I'm gonna turn over the mic spotlight to our board member, Dr. Raflayan, who's going to give you guys an update on 988 and what's happening in California and the nation, I think, but mostly California.
Hi, everybody. Can I share screen? See if this is working.
Cool. Thank you for being on today. I think Dr. Eric said he had like 3 presentations this week, so he's very busy.
Is this showing up okay?
Yeah, we can see it.
Awesome. Hi, everybody. So I know we heard a little bit about 988, and so I'm going to share a little bit more about how this has evolved. As folks may know, California's 988 bill, AB Assembly Bill 988, was named after Miles Hall. So it's been something that has been really dear and to us and important to us to make sure that this implementation really fulfills the promise of what it was supposed to be. So I'm a psychiatrist. I'm on the board of the foundation, as you heard. I'm based in San Diego, and I guess one of the things to know is that I chair the 988 Equity and Accessibility Working Group for the Technical Advisory Board of the California Office of Emergency Services. So one of my goals is to try and make sure that 988 is accessible to everyone, no matter where they live in California, what county they're in, what neighborhood they're in, whether they have insurance or not, what language they speak. So no matter who you are, that 988 works for you. So just a little background about what 988 is. So it launched nationwide on July 16th, 2022. So right now, no matter where you are in the US and actually American territories abroad, you can reach out to 988. And so 988 can reach out for any kind of emotional distress, including thoughts of suicide, but it's not just a suicide hotline. So you can also call for a mental health crisis, a substance use related crisis. You can also call 988 if you're worried about a friend or family member who might need help. And when you call 988, you're connected with a trained crisis counselor who can help figure out the situation over the phone. And so one thing I'll add here too is, so we're really working hard to make sure that people get connected to the right resource. And so for the large majority of people who call 988, that's a mental health resource. And in fact, 98% of calls that come into 988 in California stay with the crisis counselor. So they don't even need an in-person response. So for the folks that do need an in-person response, these may be dispatched to a mobile crisis team, which is a non-police, non-law enforcement mental health crisis team. And so you maybe heard a little bit more about that earlier today. And so 988 you can reach by calling any landline or cell phone. You can text 988 directly. You can also access online at 988lifeline.org. And 988 is free and confidential. So you don't have to share any information about yourself, your address, your name, how old you are to get help. And it's free. The small caveat here, if you're on a cell phone plan, this is not that common these days, but a cell phone plan that charges per text, 988 is not exempt from that. like 911 is, but the 988 service itself has no charge. It's accessible in over 200 languages. Most of those are by interpretation service, but we do have bilingual English and Spanish counselors. And there are also 988 services for those that are deaf or hard of hearing. So since it launched, 988, the volume, the number of people that are calling or texting into 988 has really increased. So this was data from, I'm going to go kind of fast here because we're going to get to more recent data, but just from the first year. And so you can see this like jumped by like quite a few percents, whether it's 50%, hundreds of percents, thousands of percents. And so you can see here kind of year by year is really growing. So people are really reaching out to 988 for support. One advantage that we've had over the past year is that 988 now connects you to local resources. So before it would connect you by area code, which was good if you lived in the same area code as your phone was, but now that more and more people have cell phones and that area code might not be the area code that you are geographically, physically based in, it now connects without revealing your location or any kind of privacy concerns here. It just connects your call to the closest geographic 988 center. So this was really good. For me, I have a 707 area code. For folks in the North Bay, that's Santa Rosa, Sonoma County. But I'm physically in San Diego. So before this change, this would have connected me to the crisis center up in Northern California, when really I most likely needed to be connected to the crisis center in San Diego so that they could connect me to my local resources here. So we now have this everywhere in the United States. I want to give some updates now on what AB 988 is looking like, the Miles Hall Lifeline and Suicide Prevention Act. So other states are now copying California. We have a number of states that are now fully funded 988 in an ongoing manner. And as I was updating some of these slides from the update I gave last year, so all of these numbers have gone up. So it was 9 states that had funded it about a year ago. So we're seeing an increase in states that are fully funding their 988 systems. To remind folks, the Miles Hall Lifeline Act, Assembly Bill 988, it passed in 2022. California's State 988 bill, and it does a lot of things, but kind of the 3 most important things that this does, and we really want to make sure that this honors Miles' legacy, is sustained funding for 988 and non-police response for mental health emergencies. So we don't want the 988 and non-police services to disappear in a bad budget year, because that's often what happens to these services that aren't based in law enforcement, which their budget generally gets replenished every year and often increased. And other community-based services languish or their funding gets cut. So funding for 988 is protected through a designated fund that can't be touched no matter what the budget is looking like. So despite what you might hear about the budget this year, the 988 funds are safe. There are implementation requirements and support for all of California's counties in this bill, which is good because we don't just want high-resourced areas, high-income areas have access to this, and other areas not have access to this and only have police. So this requires that these services be implemented everywhere in California. And it also requires insurers to cover services. And so there's ongoing work in this space as well, but we don't want a mental health crisis team to show up and have to try and verify your insurance to figure out whether they can provide services or not. We want them to be able to provide service to everyone, no matter what their situation, including insurances. And so we have a number of 988 centers across California. And then there's one national center that's here in California, the Trevor Project at the bottom. And the state is continuing to work on this. A lot of details here, but the bigger idea is that 988 is not just going to be a number, but really a connection to whatever type of mental health emergency service you need, whether that's just the 988 crisis counselor, whether that's connection to a mobile crisis team, whether that's connection to a peer-based support, whether that's peer respite or a peer support specialist, whether that's connection to a crisis center. And so the idea is we want to get people to the support that they need, and that's not police, and that's not sitting in an emergency room, which may not be that helpful, but really get them to the support that they need. And this is an exciting time because we're seeing services that are really designed for people in mental health emergencies, rather than them being the ones that are an afterthought. Okay, well, we have nowhere else to send them, so they get taken to jail, or they get taken to a sobering center, they sit in the emergency room, or they're somewhere where they're an afterthought, but really to have a service that's designed around what someone in a mental health crisis would need. So the last thing I just want to follow up quickly, because I think this is kind of cool, looking at how many people have used 988. So this is nationwide numbers since launch. So almost 20 million people have used 988 services in over 20 million contacts. And so some of these folks could have used it more than once. But roughly that's about 5% of the total population of the United States. So this is a lot of people are using 988. And that's coming in both through calls, through texts, and through chats. Looking at just in October 2025 alone, so this is the most recent data, almost 500,000 people across the United States utilize 988 services. You can see the majority of these were answered, so sometimes someone might hang up before they get connected to the crisis counselor, but you can see the large majority of those were answered. And the time it took for someone to get connected to a 988 counselor on average nationally was 35 seconds. And so that's pretty good when you think about how long it takes you to get connected to any kind of other mental health service. So to know that you can access something with an average national wait time of 35 seconds, that I think is amazing. And the average time that someone spends on the phone with a crisis counselor is about 13 to 14 minutes nationwide. The text conversations, the average is about 45 minutes. So that's a little bit longer. And that's more of a function of how a text conversation goes. Like, you're not necessarily texting someone back and forth, but you might be doing something at the same time, or it might be spread out a little bit longer. Looking at California specifically, so we have the most amount of 90-day calls of any state here. So actually about 1 in 8 calls to 988 are coming from California. And I'm really proud to say that we are doing really well. So if you look at this, we are responding to the most number of calls with the best state answer rate for those number of calls. And so this is thanks to AB 988 and the work of the Miles Hall Foundation in getting that piece of legislation passed. And so we can see that California is first in the nation on this. And so it's exciting to be in a state that values getting people the services that they need without police. And I'm really proud of the Miles Hall Foundation for their work in making this possible. And so you can see we're beating the national average there, 12.3 minutes, or sorry, 28.9 seconds to call, despite the fact that we're answering more calls than any other state. And we're keeping almost 90% of those calls in state, meaning that they'll get connected to their local resource rather than getting sent to another state. But what happens in another state, if they haven't funded 988 and you call, they might have to transfer your call out of state. So for example, in California, we might be answering calls from a different state because they weren't supporting their 988 service, which is good that the 988 counselor can reach them, but not as good for connecting them to the services on the ground in their community. So that's all I've got for now. So thanks, everybody. And I'll turn it back over to Tom.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Eric. We just are so appreciative of all your advocacy. I'll never forget when you literally, like, you found me, right? You found the Miles Hall Foundation, you found our story, and you just wrapped your arms around advocating for Miles and including us in all your different, you know, news articles and things you've been doing. So thank you again for just being on the board and then also just providing this. I mean, just being the advocate and having the background as a psychiatrist and in advocacy. I mean, you're truly a unicorn. Like, I mean, we're really, really blessed to have you advocating and doing the work with us. So thank you so much.
Yeah.
As I mentioned, this is a community call, right? We want to talk about what's happening in the community, how people are showing up. I would love to introduce you guys now to Peter, and I'm not sure if Peter or Kendra is going to speak, but they're with the Office of Racial Justice, and they're going to tell you more about what's happening with the African American Wellness Hub. And we, as the Miles Hall Foundation, are so blessed. Sorry, the bug anyway. So blessed to be a recipient of some of these funds. So we are considered the community connector of this work. But I would love to have Kendra or Peter to come in and speak about what's going on with the African American Wellness Hub. So thank you guys for being here. I know it's been a long day, and I appreciate you guys. So
Yeah, thank you, Tom. Really glad to be here. Thank you for the invite. Kendra's also on the call here, but she's in transit. She had to go and pick up her youngest, and she just texted me that her screen froze, but she's on here.
Oh, yeah, I saw her on here. That's why I was saying, hey,
Yeah,
thank
no,
you.
she's on here, but
Okay.
I think her screen froze. So I'll go ahead and deliver our update, but just know
Thank
that we're
you.
both here
Thank you.
representing the Office of Racial Equity and Social Justice. As Tom mentioned, my name is Peter Kim, along with Dr. Kendra Carr. We are the co-directors of the county's newest department, the Office of Racial Equity and Social Justice, ORESJ. We've only been around for 2 years. We're still getting our feet wet, but there's a number of different projects that we've been tasked to work hard to advance as we really try to center equity in how the county creates processes and moves the work that it does for our most vulnerable communities. But our probably, in my opinion, our most exciting project that we're working on is stewarding the establishment of an African American wellness hub, which really has grown to become now a county-wide network of services and partners, all dedicated to the shared mission of improving and expanding Black health and wellness in Contra Costa. Um, it's still in the works. Our Board of Supervisors approved about 5, 6 months ago an implementation plan to invest about $8 million towards the establishment of this network, to be distributed over the course of 3 years to help seed and grow this network, which will eventually create a network of coordinated services and supports. This will include community-based, Black-led and Black-serving organizations and county-led services, such as our Employment Human Services Department and Health Department, right? It's bringing all of these supportive services together in a very coordinated, concentrated way that prioritizes our most vulnerable and marginalized loved ones in our Black communities. I just want to be clear. I have to say none of this would have been possible in terms of having these funds approved and dedicated by our Board of Supervisors. None of it would have been possible without the work of community advocates and organizers and residents who came out in protest of the intense police violence that came to light in Antioch back in 2022. We have folks coming out demanding that our county do more to ensure that our Black and other vulnerable communities get the support they need to heal and recover from generations of pain and violence and trauma. So this was the board's way of us trying to kind of seed some of that movement forward, to expand that wellness for our Black communities throughout Contra Costa. But as we are rolling out this implementation plan that I'm gonna give you a quick little update on, I also want to mention that the board also approved $1 million just to be distributed over this initial interim year to fund an inaugural cohort of service providers to really meet the immediate need for services while we ramp up what will be this network. And so in this inaugural cohort of service providers, we have 14 projects, all dedicated to all towards providing mental health supports, food and housing insecurity services, community healing, maternal and infant health care, and youth support services. So we have these 14 programs just for a year to kind of really initiate and form, in many ways, the foundation for what will eventually be our African American Wellness Hub. And Miles Hall Foundation is one of those 14 projects, one of our initial members that we are active right now. They started doing these services end of March, early April of this year, and they're going to go until the end of March of 26. And they're already on the ground providing these services that I just kind of walked through, all Black-led grassroots organizations. Again, us really trying to nurture the development and growth of a constellation of Black-led organizations that are doing this work. And Miles Hall Foundation in particular, their role has been to provide a lot of this kind of infrastructure support around disseminating the information so folks know that these services exist, where they can go up and sign up for these resources, and really just helping to kind of spread the word. Miles Hall, one of its strengths is an immense network of supporters and partners that they've already created through their different email, social networks, and social media networks. And so being able to plug into that network and share the good work that's happening through these providers that we're funding has just been invaluable. And really that is kind of speaking to this theme that Ton is talking about, is developing miles of connections, literally miles of connections across Contra Costa and beyond, that collectively we're all nurturing and growing. So that's the vision for this hub. that we are also trying to steward and grow based on a lot of kind of the good work that's foundational that's happening right now with these providers that Patty just showed up there. And you can visit the Miles Hall Foundation page as well as our own website for ORESJ and see who those providers are. But ultimately, we want to grow this network across Contra Costa. Our first step is to release 2 solicitations that will be released hopefully by March of 26, so just in a handful of months. That's going to be releasing funds first to rapid response service providers to provide those immediate services, and another solicitation to fund what we're calling an implementation lead. So an organization that's going to provide the backbone support and coordination for this network of services across Contra Costa. It's a big project. We're going to need all of your support, all of your attention, so that your eyes are on it to make sure that we're really meeting what community is defining as the needs of our Black communities. One way we're doing that is we established a community advisory body. It's called the TCAB, the Transitional Community Advisory Body. We have right now 13 African American community members throughout Contra Costa to really be the voice to our panel of experts, of lived experience, of professional experience to help design and craft these solicitations, the requests for proposals and the requests for qualifications of the service providers and the lead entity, right? And this, again, is just one way that our office is really trying to open up avenues and spaces for community members to inform and shape how county makes decisions, right? So we invite you all to be a part of that process by tuning into these public meetings, providing public comments, and just being a part of it. Hold us and hold the county accountable to what we have been committed to do. I know my time is about up, Ton. I do want to just add a couple more little updates so folks know other ways that they can get involved. So in addition to this transitional community advisory body meeting once a month and doing this work right now for the hub, we are now also accepting applications for 4 open seats on this community advisory body. The Board of Supervisors just recently approved 3 new, what they call alternate seats. And if you're interested in it, Tom, I'm going to send you and Patty some information so you can send out to the network on how they can apply. That application process will be open until next Friday. But yeah, if you want to get involved, please consider applying. In addition, our office is working closely with our Contra Costa Health Department and other community leaders, service providers, and advocates in an effort called Contra Costa Together. We're trying to build bridges and partnerships and align all of our different community organizations and system partners around a shared vision, set of goals to center equity, particularly when it comes to health in Contra Costa. And we convened about 150 people last April in Concord. Our next convening is going to be in February. I'm going to make sure that Miles Hall Foundation, Patty, that you all get that information so you can share with your network. We invite all of you to come. Please attend that convening. We're trying to grow our network that way as well. And then finally in March, our office is going to be hosting a 3-part workshop series on civic engagement, kind of like a county government 101, right? It's really going to be geared towards like the average county resident or layperson to kind of help demystify county processes, how to navigate the various systems, how to differentiate between what a city council does versus a county board of supervisors versus a school board, so people know where they can go to engage and offer their voices and perspectives. Because we know these processes are overly complicated and just really bureaucratic. So how can we kind of get past some of that just by providing some education? It's probably going to be a little too basic for seasoned veterans and organizers. You already know the stuff that we're planning to present in that workshop series. But if you have just your neighbor or your loved one that wants to get involved, they got opinions, they got perspectives, but they're a little intimidated by the processes because they don't understand what exactly it's all about, please let them know that our office is going to be offering these workshops in March.
Thank you. Thank you. And then we have a question, Lynette Hart asking what's the name of the committee that is reviewing the solicitations? And she said, is there a tentative date on when the hub will be in operation?
Yes. So The name of, so all of the applications ultimately are going to be reviewed and the decision is made by the Equity Committee. The Equity Committee is a subcommittee of our Board of Supervisors. Currently, the Equity Committee has supervisors Ken Carlson and Chanel Scales Preston. So they will be the two supervisors that make the final decision and appoint the TCAB members. So these last 4 seats. We're hoping that actually happens in the Equity Committee meeting in January, I believe. So it's the Equity Committee, Lynette, that's going to be making the decision. We want services and funds to be released as early as 2026 so that services are on the ground, hopefully by the beginning of next fiscal year, so like July of 2026, and that this network begins developing right away. Services are right away on the ground. But this implementation lead is going to need like a headquarters, like a base of operations. So we're going to have to work with them to figure out where it's going to be, how to secure that space, the funding that's going to be needed. Because 8 million is a lot, but it's nowhere close to what's really needed. So we're going to have to fundraise some more. We do have one site that's being proposed that's county owned. We're hoping the county will just kind of give it to us or lease it to us for like $1 a year or something. But that site won't be available to 2029. That does not mean services don't start until then. Services start right away in 2026. But an actual like physical headquarters for the implementation lead, we're trying to work. Right now we have a site that's proposed that'll be available to us in 2029. If we can get something sooner, we absolutely will. But again, services will roll out, funds will roll out next year.
Sounds good. All right. Thank you. Thank you, Peter, for those updates.
Yeah, well, I did drop in the chat a link for the survey. When we do our workshop series on civic engagement, we want it to be informed by community members. You tell us what you think would be helpful. So the survey's there. If you have a moment, take that survey. It's real short. Let us know what you think people might want to be interested in learning about.
Thank you. And thank you again, Peter and Kendra, for your partnership and, representing Contra Costa so well in the racial equity department. It's really important. So thank you. All right. All right. So we're going to share a little bit more and then we're going to wrap up. So as I mentioned, some of the things that we have planned for our future is we're creating an advisory council. We already have some members. We have a couple on the call right now. So thank you. We are expanding our board of directors and board development. If you guys know people who are interested. Sorry, I was trying to say Alan Bluford. Thank you. Say his name, Alan Bluford.
Alan
Bluford.
All right, you guys. Thank you all for being on the call tonight. And yes, you can visit us on our website, on the social media platforms, Mousehole Foundation, Instagram, Facebook, all the things. So thank you again. It means a lot to have you guys supporting the work we do. Have a good
Thank
night.
you, Ton.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.